What is up, my guys? Today we'll be talking about gooning using action figures and simply breaking it down because it's not a bad thing. And I became a gooner myself, so you can avoid it, or perhaps use it as a tool, because if it's not used as a tool, then you're simply not knowing how to use it, right? So let's begin, right? I like to goon. Why is this a problem? It's not a problem. It's not a problem, Venom. Simply because you gotta understand that you gotta use it as a tool. But I can't talk to girls. Well, is that a problem? No, it's not a problem, Venom. But the thing is, sometimes, look, the thing is, you put it as a mental problem for yourself, and it becomes a problem like that, right? You think it's a problem because it has to be a problem. The internet lies to you and tells you, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. But isn't porn bad? Yes, it is bad to use porn. It is. But you gotta understand that you have to be conscious about it, right? It's simply like any other habit. You have to understand it. But how can I talk to girls? Simple. Talk to them like they're your bros. What do you mean as my bro? Look, if you see them as your bro, you realize that you're not trying to F your bro, you're trying to have a good time with them, right? So simply said, if you seek them out to have a good time, they won't feel that pressure that you're trying to force on them, right? If you force that pressure on them, it makes them feel weird, right? And to get that intimate, you have to basically not make it that way, or else you'll just force the vibe. If you ever force a vibe, it makes no sense. That makes sense. But I have trouble stopping myself from gooning. Well, that's understandable. That's because, again, you're not measuring it as a hobby. You're simply acting as a primal being. And it's not a bad thing to goon, but you have to be conscious about it, right? If you're not measuring your time or what you're doing, then you're not gonna ever move it. So simply said, if you find yourself having trouble with it as a hobby, then you should probably time it out to 10 minutes to 15 minutes at most, if that's a problem. Okay, but what if it brings problems when I go to bed with someone else? That's fair. That's when you have to actually communicate. That's the biggest problem that this society has. They can't communicate with each other because they think it's a vulnerability. You have to communicate. That's all it is. Consider it like social capital. If you don't communicate with someone about it, then you're not building that. How do you think anything happens? If you truly think that all it is getting there and just going crazy, you've been watching too much of it. That's how it warps your mind, because you think of women as an object to get things done faster, as an optimization, as a lot of things are with male culture. You think of it as like, oh, if I do things fast and right, I should achieve the other side's achievement a lot quicker, and it should be fun. Why, you should be considering the ability to enjoy it through the tour, or I should say the journey itself, not necessarily the goal. Because if you try to reach the goal too fast, it becomes too forced and it becomes a problem. Oh, I guess that makes sense. So I should be more communicative towards that? You should, Venom, because you're a good guy, dude. You and I are not the same, are not too different. In fact, we would be the same if it wasn't for how you looked. But honestly, dude, just consider them as bros. If you feel like it's so hard to talk to someone else like that, then consider them as bros, because you lose the objectification of them. That's all you gotta do. If you practice this technique, then you yourself will find yourself talking to people and realizing that you're just talking to them for the sake of talking to them. It is not a forced vibe. Now, obviously, if you want to seek a higher level with them, then what you have to do is this simple step. Consider it as a date, but tell them explicitly what you're trying to do, right? And not, should I crack them? No, don't tell them you're gonna crack them. That's weird. Everyone would want that if they became that level of intimacy or relationship. But what you have to do, is invite them somewhere to eat and get to know them. Get to know them, right? Once you get to know them, it becomes a lot easier to understand where they see you. And then after that first date, if you get that first date, then ask them explicitly what you want, because, I mean, in the sense that you want to seek a relationship, because if you're just seeking a vain thing like hooking up, then maybe you'll get it, but honestly, dude, it's a zero-sum game, and you'll find yourself feeling empty besides that. I mean, unless you really want to do that. But I feel like I'm dependent on gooning all the time. Well, that's fine. That's because you're not actually creating a loop. To change the habit, you have to simply understand what it is and then change the activity, right? Because you're still getting a sense of satisfaction. You just gotta find something else, right? And that's simply through perhaps, I don't know, you can draw instead. You can go work out, do something like that. Loop it to the point that you can sense the urgency of it and then change it, right? Because you're not gonna change by avoiding it. You gotta change it by understanding when you get the trigger to do it, when you're bored, maybe you feel like on afternoons, and then changing it that way, right? Maybe you wanna work out, maybe you wanna do it. Or simply doing it, but understanding that that's not your, it's not a progressive problem. It's just you simply think that it has to be a problem when it isn't. Now, if your goal is to just stop it because you think you're addicted to it, then yes, slowly do it. But no, don't go cold turkey, essentially, because you'll relapse in that sense. And understand that as an addiction, if you treat it as an addiction, then that's fine, but you're recovering. So never say you're done with it, you're just recovering, right? That's why people that are actual drug addicts or recovering people, they don't say that they have been that. They say that they've been recovering for this long, because it is a real problem, and you should see it as that and respect it as that. And when you gain that respect for yourself, you see yourself as someone that can control your thoughts, not as a primal being that just enacts on what they're doing. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Thanks, Spider-Man. No problem, dude. You have any other questions? Nope, I don't think so. Okay, let's look it up. So those are kind of topics that I kind of saw online. Honestly, dude, it just comes down to how you see it. Because honestly, if you think of it as a problem, it'll be a problem, just as anything else. Like if you go to the gym too much, right, it could become a problem. Anything could become a problem because it's just a hobby that can be taken seriously. The problem that warps your mind, I think that people don't oversee often, is the objectification that they aren't aware of. If you see a girl and you want to crack her immediately, you're objectifying her, right? It's like you see, laundry undone, you have to fold it, right? It's a loop. Your brain's a loop. It has to fix the loop. It has to end it somehow, right? Just like Spider-Man sees Venom, he has to defeat him. Just as Venom has to defeat him. And the way they do it is entirely up to you. Whether you want to progressively perhaps seek conversation with them, like, yo, bro, it's not good to do this. Or seek it through chaotic means, which obviously is that's the problem. By instantly fighting it, then that becomes a problem. That's all it is, right? It's just simply how you see it and how you work your way around it, because it's all a tool. And if you feel like you're doing it, then perhaps that's the case. But if you see it as a problem, then perhaps seek alternative methods than the ones you already use. Same coin, different sides, right? If you like this video, please just like and subscribe. And if you're still watching, thank you so much. I would like to upgrade my tools and perhaps get different characters, because I love action figures and I love playing with my kids. So thank you guys.